I want to encourage you to define what your big goals are, define what your year goal looks like, maybe define a couple of pieces of your business, whether that's your website, your marketing as a whole, maybe the pricing structure that you have, maybe it's replacing yourself in the business. Regardless of what it is, set that 12-month goal, back yourself into that goal by monthly little markers. We call them progress marker goals, PMGs in our company. Back yourself into that and then say, okay, what am I doing this week that's going to contribute to that?
You're listening to the Venue RX podcast.
What's up, everyone? Jonathan here with the Venue RX, and on this show we document and share best practices around building, owning, and managing world-class wedding venues. And I am excited for today's podcast. I'm just going to be making a solo show, actually. So I had a guest who was supposed to come on the show today, and I'm actually here in the waiting room, so I might end up discontinuing this and jumping over there if she shows up. I wanted to take some time and talk to you about something that I am currently struggling with and building as a part of my business, as a part of my daily routine. And one of the things as a business owner, and I think many of us can relate to this as wedding venue owners, there's a difference between working in our business and working on our business. There's a difference between working on the systems and processes that you carry out on a daily basis, and then there is all of the stuff, right, that we need to do, all of the emails that we need to get back to, all of the couples that we need to take care of, all the reviews that we need to request, maybe getting some of those galleries, those picture galleries for new content for our websites. Whatever the case may be, there are those things that work on our business, and then there are the daily tasks and things that we have to do. And one of the things that I have personally been struggling with is sometimes, across the 4 venues that we manage, we're actually bringing on 2 more, which is really exciting, but sometimes struggling with getting in the weeds with each one of the venues and the daily tasks and things that are required at each one of those properties. And so I wanted to come on here and give you guys a little bit of my mindset around how I'm working to solve that and some of the things that I'm doing to make sure that I am planning for success. I'm assuming success is going to come in the future. I've set my goals. I've set what I want to do, but I'm making sure that those daily actions that I have actually align and map to that larger vision. And so I wanted to just come on here and share this with you. I think as venue owners, as venue managers, as people who are in this venue world, our lives primarily revolve around blessing our clients. We want to make sure that our properties are good so that we can serve the clients. We want to make sure that we create an environment that our team can thrive in. We want to make sure that we have a wedding venue and an event venue that really creates a special moment for people. And I think we are very hospitable, just as a group, if I'm generalizing here, of course. But again, I think that we can get distanced from that goal and distanced from that mindset when we encounter stress and when we encounter friction. And the stress and friction generally is created by all sorts of things that are going to happen on a daily basis that could upset our mission and our goal. And it's very easy to spend some time planning and think, okay, this is how it's going to lay out. But then what happens when there are hooks in the road? What happens when you have trouble with the county or trouble with the neighbors, or your employee quits, or your marketing is not what you want it to be? And so you have some people reaching out to you that, they wanted to have, sparklers, and they saw some pictures of sparklers on your social media. And now you're saying that you don't allow them. And it could be vendors. It could be trouble with vendors, right? It could be a myriad of different things that will upset the balance of what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to just have happen in your life. And so what I'm doing on a daily basis to make sure that I am set, I am focused, I am pursuing my mission is I am reviewing my large goals daily. And I'm forcing myself to do this even if I wake up late, even if I get off my normal schedule. I have a couple of different routines that I try to make happen. I have 5 children. I have multiple venues. I have personal stuff that's going on. And so when I look at all of that, I say, okay, what do I want as big goals for the venue? What do I want for each one of the venues? What do I want my life personally to look like? What do I want my relationship to look like? What do I want my, the relationship with my children to look like? And are my actions, are the things on my to-do list mapping to that? So that's one of the things that I'm doing on a daily basis. And it's very tough because I do have entrepreneurial ADD sometimes, and I'm pivoting around and I'm looking everywhere to see what's the best way to move forward and what should I be doing and what opportunity could we take on. And there's a piece of that that's good, but then there's a piece of that that's very distracting and a piece of that that is very jarring to making consistent progress. And that is really what it's about. As I'm coming here today, I want to encourage you to define what your big goals are, define what your year goals goal looks like. Maybe define a couple of pieces of your business, whether that's your website, your marketing as a whole, maybe the pricing structure that you have, maybe getting PDFs that look a little bit more professional that you send out to your couples. Regardless of what it is, maybe it's hiring somebody, right? Maybe it's replacing yourself in the business. Regardless of what it is, set that 12-month goal, back yourself into that goal by monthly little markers. We call them progress marker goals, PMGs in our company. And, back yourself into that. Then say, okay, what am I doing this week that's going to contribute to that? I say I want this. Are my actions mapping to that? And you will have urgent things that come up. But those urgent things are likely things that can be accomplished after you spend a little bit of time, a little bit of consistent time focused on the big goal and just making that incremental progress. I'm also sharing this because I had a dear friend come into town, Kristen Binford. She's also a wedding venue expert. She's the wedding venue owner on Instagram. And we were having a conversation. We went out to lunch. We were having a conversation about this. And she kept asking me questions that kind of dug deeper and deeper into what I was thinking and considering around some of the big goals that I had. And I had showed her a spreadsheet of all the goals that we have laid out. And I said, okay, you look at the spreadsheet, you let me know what you think, and then I'll tell you, what the problems are. And so as I told her each one of the problems and what I felt like was preventing me from getting, and maybe our company, from getting to those goals, and just asking her perspective on how to solve them and things like that, she just kept challenging my assumptions, I guess. And there was a point at the lunch where she was asking me these questions and I said, great, we can get the check. I've solved it. I figured it out. And she was like, wait, what are you talking about? And I said, the thing that I'm realizing is I'm complaining about not having progress in an area that I am not spending daily time working on. I want to bring on more venues into our management group. I want to be able to impact more couples through those relationships that we have with venues, right? And I want to grow our company nationwide. And I'm looking in specific markets, Tennessee, Texas, Arizona. I'm looking in Montana. I'm looking at Idaho. I'm looking in California. I'm looking in some of these markets for venues that we can bring on. And, she said, well, what are you doing about that? And I just realized I'm creating content on here, which is great. That's a daily activity that I think does bring exposure to what we're doing. But I am not picking up the phone every single day and calling a couple of people. Sure, I'm encouraging our sales team to do that for all the couples. I'm encouraging them to follow up. I just had a sales call this morning with our team, encouraging them to follow the TEC process. It's like this text, email, call process that we have as part of our sales system. I'm encouraging them to do that, but I'm not taking the action myself, and I'm not doing what it'll take to actually get to the venue management goals and the venue relationship goals that I want to have. I'm not doing that on a daily basis. I'm picking out these times out of the month that I'm going to spend some time dedicated to it, but I'm not putting in the daily consistent action. So I want to encourage you right now, as you've looked at those goals over the year, over the month, whatever it happens to be, realize that your actions, your daily actions have to map to what those big goals are, because if it doesn't, it'll create this cognitive dissonance for you that will add stress into your life. It will add a layer of insecurity and just lack of confidence because you don't feel that progression happening. You don't even feel losses or misfires happening as a part of the progress towards the big goal. You just don't see action. And you really have to prove to yourself, and what I found, at least personally in my life, you have to prove to yourself that you are worth the hype, or you are making progress towards those big goals. And that, for me at least, is where confidence comes from. I can say all I want, we're crushing it, we're doing these big things, we're accomplishing these goals and things like that. But if I don't prove to myself that that's actually the case, if I don't see progress in the business, there's almost two sides of my brain that are saying, I want to do this is what we're doing. And then that second side that's kind of saying, well, are you doing it? Are you actually following through with that? Are you writing that email that you said you would? Are you following up with that couple? Are you doing those different things that you said you would be doing? And if the answer is no to any one of those things, for me, that ends up being a huge hit to my confidence and really doesn't position me well to accomplish those big goals and do those big things that I know we're capable of and that I know we can do. And for me, everything maps back to the daily actions. So I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this right now and you have those things, there's a bug in your head that's going on right now that's like, oh, I have this thing that I need to do. I need to be reaching out to these people. I need to be following through. I need to be, tackling whatever it is. Maybe there's something on a to-do list for you that you've wanted to do or needed to do for a long time, whether it's marketing, whether it's a part of your sales processes, whether it's a part of something operationally. Maybe it's hiring, maybe it's replacing yourself, a couple days a week as the venue manager on property so that you can free up more time personally, so you can have a little bit more distance and get a little bit more perspective in your business. Regardless of what it is, make sure that your daily actions in some sense are mapping towards that. Someone who has been an inspiration to me, she potentially will be a future client, and I'm not going to say, her name, but if you're watching this, you're going to know who you are. She is struggling personally with cancer. There are a lot of different business things going on in her career and her job that are challenging and are taxing. She also ended up getting COVID. She messaged me, hey, she sent me a message, hey, I'm in the hospital for COVID. She delegated a couple of things. We were working collaboratively on a few things. And then I opened my Facebook and I saw in a Facebook group about a market that she's in that she is posting about date availability for her venue. And that was absolutely so inspiring to me. But for the purpose of this conversation, what it speaks to is the fact that she's putting in the daily work regardless of health concerns, regardless of multiple health concerns, right? Cancer, so much stuff, regardless of turmoil at work, regardless of things that are going on in her personal life, she's still taking those daily actions that all stack up to be really big wins that will contribute to her venue getting booked and being successful in the long run. And so for me, that was such a big inspiration. And again, if you're watching this, you know who you are. And that is such a big inspiration to me, but I think it is a illustration and should be a huge motivation to all of us to realize we have to set ourselves up in a way that the daily actions map to our larger goals that will give us the confidence, that will give us the surety that we are actually going to accomplish those things and we can take on whatever is thrown at us. And as venue owners, there's a lot. There's negative reviews. There's people quitting. I mean, we're entrepreneurs and we're also in this very unique space that is challenged in a lot of different ways. And so if this is you, if I'm talking to you right now and you are struggling and you have something big that you're trying to knock out in your life and you have a goal, even if you just need someone as an accountability partner, shoot us an email. It's thevenuerx@gmail.com. You can literally say, hey, this is what I'm trying to work on. Hey, sometimes just by proclaiming it or declaring it or putting it out there into the world, and we may not know each other, right? But by sending me a message really quick and saying, hey, in the next 12 months, I'm going to do X, whatever that is. You've kind of given yourself that marker, your deadline. I'm taking a look at it. I'll follow back up with you. I'll say, hey, how's that going? And, of course, we'll see how many people do. But I think I'm at the place where I can definitely respond. I will definitely respond. And where you'll have a layer of that accountability, and if you are struggling with something, you need to accomplish it, but you're just having a tough time taking that first step. Again, send me an email. Hit us up on Instagram. It's thevenuerx. And I want to be there for you, especially if you are struggling, especially if you feel like there's some big goals that you're not accomplishing, especially if you feel like you are in the weeds. This is completely accomplishable. There are a lot of struggles that I've personally gone through to get where I'm at now. I know there are struggles that we're going through now that are going to prepare us for the next stage. And I know for each one of you listening right now, that same exact situation is playing out in your life regardless of the situation. So thank you so much for being a part of this community. If you're just listening online, and on podcasts, rather on iTunes or Spotify, and you haven't yet checked our YouTube, I would absolutely love if you went and checked that out. And then if you also subscribed, that would just mean the world to me and help us continue trying to bless venue owners, trying to bring education into this space, and just would make a really big difference to myself and the rest of the community here. All right, that's it for today. Please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, shout us out, share it with a friend, whatever you feel like we are worth. And if we're not bringing that much value, no worries. It should be a value exchange. So I appreciate you listening. We will see you in the next video.